Hello and welcome to Seminary Reacts. I'm the host Amy, and today we are joined by Brent Graber, who is the Director of Information Technology, IT, at AMBS. He's also an alum of AMBS. Would you like to introduce yourself? Just say what you do here, what your passions are.
Sure. The short version is I do anything that needs to be plugged in.
Yeah.
And budgeting and strategy, some of those kinds of things. But like I'm the entire IT department, so if it needs done, then I'm the person who does it. Apart from IT, I really like community theater. That's the thing that gives me a lot of joy. So that's what I try to do in my spare time. I'm kind of a humanities person in a technical role.
Yeah. Awesome. And I think you have some magical capability to work with technology. I know we say, all the time whenever we have problems, it's like you come in and everything is magically fixed. So you're definitely very good at your job.
Well, thank you. It doesn't feel like magic to me, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, and you've been here for a long time, right?
Yeah, I am finishing my 27th year.
Wow, Wow. Yeah. I'm 1 year younger than that year. Not to make you feel old or
thanks.
anything, but
yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So before we dive in here to some of these Reddit stories and questions, what is your experience with Reddit?
I have read Reddit. I know some of the terminology involved in Reddit, but I've never posted, and I don't spend a lot of time on it. Like I stumble across it if I'm looking for the answer for something more than I seek it out.
Okay.
I've also found it to be generally polite and kind and straightforward, unless someone is just really asking for it.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm glad your experiences have been positive. We will get a range of some reactions from people on Reddit here. Are you ready to get started?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so our first post is coming from the subreddit Christian, and the post title is, "How do Christians feel about AI?" And the post says, "I've been thinking a lot about how Christians view AI, especially tools like ChatGPT or AI-powered Bible apps like Manna being used for Bible study, sermon prep, devotionals, etc. I'd genuinely love to hear different perspectives." And there are a lot of interesting comments about this on this post, but I first want to hear from what you think about this.
Yeah, that's a pretty broad question, I think. This is clearly somebody just seeking a lot of information.
Right.
It seems to me that there's maybe two main ways to think about using AI for Christian practice. One of those is to have AI do your practice for you so that you don't have to do the practice yourself. So spiritual disciplines are a lot easier if someone else does them for you. And that strikes me as maybe a not very good use of AI. But there's also use of AI that can help summarize a text, or that can maybe pull out some observations about a text that aren't those that you've found, or that aren't those that your friends have found, or that aren't those that you have people around you reliably enough to have conversations about. And that strikes me as a more positive and maybe even beneficial use of AI for Christian study, for example. So I think of those two as kind of broad categories, right? The one where you're letting AI do the work for you, the one where it's more conversational with AI. And within those, and there's all kinds of variants, I'm sure, that people can do, right? Whether you have AI create materials on your behalf, or if you accept AI's interpretation as the one true authorized best interpretation. That's kind of my initial stab at it, and I'm curious to know what other people have said in response to this question, since it's quite broad.
Yeah. So one of the top comments on this is just Second Tower of Babel.
Well, that's interesting.
So, really trying to say, in the Tower of Babel story in Genesis, it's humans trying to reach God, trying to reach the heavens. And so their interpretation of AI is that it's just doing that in a different way. So that's one of them. This next one, "It is a truly evil tool. Satan could not dream of a better weapon. Using it makes you dumber, it sucks the soul out of art, and it generates false reality so people lose the ability to tell the truth from lies. God made us to participate in his creation. On top of all of this, while the world is on the brink of ecological collapse caused by excessive energy use and freshwater supplies nearly completely exhausted, it uses an exorbitant amount of fresh water and electricity. AI is an abomination that should never be used and should be opposed at all costs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is. I have some affinity with that second question, honestly, or that second comment rather.
Yeah.
The Tower of Babel one is interesting because I think there's a way that humans are always using technology to do things. Mm-hmm. Right? Like we're limited. Humans are limited creatures, and technology is the thing that we use to overcome those limits. Right? We don't have thick fur coats to keep us warm, so we make clothing and coats and houses and whatever else, so that we can be warm in different kinds of inclement weather. Say, mm-hmm. at least in the Midwest where it gets cold. And I think AI is just another sort of step of what is the perceived limit that we find ourselves up against that we're trying to overcome. And I think so. Like that Babel question is interesting. Like the Babel question. Part of the problem in Babel is that people were too able to communicate with each other, and so they were becoming too able to overcome their limits. And I think the second comment about how evil AI is there may be some
Satan
of that.
Could not dream of a better weapon.
Yeah, I mean there may be some of that behind that thinking also, that like there are some things that should be properly human to do, and other things that maybe we shouldn't do, even if we find that we're able to do it. And one of the challenges for me of AI is that, and it ties into my earlier answer too, I think, is that it is easy as a human to sort of shift where that boundary is. Right? Mm-hmm. We're really good at redefining what is properly ours to do, or redefining what is unique about being human. Like that's I don't actually worry that AI is going to replace humanity in some reason, but part of it is cynical. Like part of that is we're really creative at redefining what it means to be human. So whatever AI does, well, we'll just find something else that means that this is what being human really is. So I have some feelings about that second thing, and some awareness that also it's pretty amazing what these AI tools can do. And so then I start asking questions like, are there things that are amazing that are worth doing, and things that are mundane that we shouldn't do? Right? So part of the water and ecological harm isn't because any one chat, say, is so ecologically expensive. It's because there's millions of people performing millions of chats all the time. Right? Like that's ecologically expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to talk more about that specific idea, because I know in conversations about AI that I see online, I feel like this second comment really summed it up well, is this idea, using it makes you dumber, it sucks the soul out of art, it's generating a false reality, so people lose the ability to tell the truth from lies. That's often one of the arguments. And then this other argument is about ecological collapse and the amount of water that's taken to be, keeping these data centers cool and everything. There is usually a pretty staunch opinion from a lot of people about no, AI is bad. There is no use of AI that is considered to be responsible.
Yeah.
So what you're kind of saying is there's a little more to it than that.
Yeah, I think there's room for some nuance there. And the way that I think about it is to ask, I drove my car to work today. That used far more water just to get the fuel to my gas tank. Before I even drove to work, I used more water getting the fuel to my gas tank than I will use all day with whatever AI interaction I have. And I don't even think about it. Right. So I think there's some nuance that can be added to that comment. For sure, building 500 data centers is probably not a good idea. And also, we do all kinds of things all the time that are already a baseline of waste that we don't think about. And I think it's worth kind of reminding ourselves that that's also true. That all technology has some kind of cost associated with it. Right. So irrigation in the desert Southwest is terrific because it means you can go grow crops, and it also means that the Colorado River doesn't reach the Gulf anymore. Right. These are part and parcel of the same thing, I think.
Right.
And so that's kind of how I tend to think about technology generally, is sort of those, I guess you can call them polarities maybe, but it's not really that you can do this thing and not have this other thing. There's always this other thing, whatever you're doing, right? So maybe it makes something simpler, but then it also complicates things in some ways. Or maybe it allows you to do something you couldn't do before, but it also requires that you behave in a particular way to make that happen, right? Like there's always that kind of both of these things happening, it seems to me, with any kind of technology, and AI is just another example of it. And I think an important one and a big one, but maybe not unique in that particular way. That's how I think about it, yeah.
And I mean, I'll read these other comments first, because what we see again is like we have the people who are very, very, very anti-AI. These next two comments are from people who are extremely pro-AI. And so this first comment says, "I use it quite often and I think it's great. It's a blessing from God. Imagine the ability to pull from every theological source at once. It's never steered me wrong. I prayed over it and asked God to use it to grow me in my love and service for Him." And then the second comment is, "I'm kind of interested in how many people here making comments in opposition to AI work in technical fields and have some basic knowledge and understanding about how AI works. Sure, you can put your head in the sand and not use it, but I see it as a tool to be used to better ourselves and our lives. It's just a tool like a hammer or a wrench. We can live without it, or we can use it to improve our lives and even our worship and study." So, I mean, which is kind of a representation of one of the other arguments a little bit, with people saying, like, this is the way the world is headed. Like, we got to jump on board or we're going to be left behind.
Yeah.
And I think, like, there's kind of, like, this idea of, as this is in the subreddit Christianity, that it's like, well, we don't want the church to be left behind. We don't want Christianity to be left behind in this AI conversation, too. Yeah.
Yeah, these positive comments are interesting to hear, too, because I think that there's a different mindset. I think these positive comments I hear as being about motivation, not necessarily about AI. So the negative comments had more to do with how will we know anything is true? How can we trust what we see or what we hear? Are we destroying the earth that we're supposed to be tending to in some way? The only home that we know. Like, is that where we should focus? And then the positive comments are more like, yes, but my intent or my motivation is X or Y or whatever my motivation is. So there's almost a different starting point, it seems to me, in these two different kinds of comments. So like we're both talking about AI, and you come to such different perspectives because of where you start, I think, in that in this conversation.
Yeah. So I think like I just kind of like to keep thinking about this question in terms of like the theological perspective on it.
Yeah. Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
That I lost track of. You know what? It went away. Go ahead.
So I'm just thinking about like I'm wondering, because you're working at a seminary, and so obviously there is theological reflection that has happened about AI. So what does that look like? Like thinking about AI from a theological perspective, and like where God comes into play. And I know that's a big question.
Yeah. Right.
But.
Well, so theology is about finding meaning. Right, like that's. I think you can define theology pretty broadly as you can use sort of Christian language for it, but theology seems to me is really about like how do I find something meaningful in life, and I think some of the horror stories that you read about AI are people trying to do just that. When you hear stories about folks who have fallen into conspiratorial thinking, who were not before using AI, or they develop a messiah complex of some kind. Relationships are destroyed by this. Like, it strikes me that what underlies that is this sense of like, where do I find meaning? And here's a tool that is helping me find meaning. The challenge with that is that there isn't you don't have other guides who are also sort of pushing against you. So you rely on AI exclusively. That there's this. I think this is less the case than it used to be with AI models, as far as from what my reading tells me, but like once upon a time, these things were so incredibly happy to please that you just would never even be corrected by them, right? And that's a dangerous. Nobody should be in a place where they never have a chance to be corrected, right? That's a recipe for catastrophe, I think.
Right.
So I think theologically that's an interesting element. Like, what do you need to have to know that when you're searching for meaning, you're finding sustainable and healthy ways of engagement. I mean, it's why there are things like congregations for atheists, right? Like, I mean, these things exist, and I grew up in a Christian congregation, and so it sounds a little bit strange to my ears, right? Like this, why would you do this? But I think it has to do with how do you find some trustworthy group that can help you sort of wrestle with these deep questions and not have you going to a place that is going to be harmful to you or to your neighbors.
Yeah.
You're right. That's not really a technical question, Amy.
Yeah. And I think, like, I mean, with this, I mean, not even considering the fact that it's a new technology, I think there's theological discernment that happens regardless of what you're using and what technology is. And I mean, when you're reading a book, when you're, pulling from non-AI sources, I mean, there's always going to be a level of discernment that happens, and I think it's responsible. But kind of like immediately putting out the benefit that AI could have is not necessarily helpful either.
Right. I think that's right. And you made a comment there that prompted me to my earlier comment. I'm going to bring it in now, which is to say that, like, the books that you choose to interact with, or the people that you choose to engage with, or the tools that you use to engage with, they have some bearing on the way that you engage. So there was an earlier comment about using AI as it's a wrench or a hammer or whatever. And I want to push back against that a little bit. Like, yes, AI can be a tool. I think there's some risk in saying that it's just a tool, because that implies that it's just kind of sitting there, not doing anything to you when you use it. And I don't think that's true. So, I can read 3 different commentaries about a text. If I only read one of them, that influences me in a different kind of way than if I read 3. Right? Or if I have a screwdriver, this is the old, well, I'll just use the old trite example, right? If I have a hammer, I can pound things, and it wants to be used for pounding things, right? And so if there's something that isn't right, my tendency is to say, I'll just pound it, right? That's not the hammer just being a neutral tool, right? It's offering a particular action, and I think there's a way that AI offers a particular action, and one of those is that it's still not especially good at knowing that the sources it's calling on are the best ones for what you're trying to accomplish. But it speaks pretty authoritatively. Right. And so that has a bearing on how you receive it. It's not just a tool in that regard, right? And so I think for theological things, that's where I would want to have some caution, some ability for someone who is motivated to use it to make sure that they are always checking what is coming out against what their community is teaching, or against what their own sense of the world is, or right, there's some kind of conversation between those things, because AI might be right, and it might have the best explanation, but it also doesn't actually care one way or the other whether its explanation is the best. Right. There's nothing riding on it for the AI engine itself. Right. So there's a lot of wisdom involved, and for the person using it to be able to know how to use it responsibly. I think that's right. You've got to use it responsibly, and I'm too much this way anyway, but like, I'm at least always asking, like, okay, now wait a minute, why did I do that? Why do I think that's the thing that's right? Is this answer too pat? Right? do I see this pattern because I want to see it, or because it's actually there?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, are you ready to move on to our next question
I am
here?
sorry.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, so I mean, very interesting conversation about AI. This next one is turning into a different topic. This question is coming from the subreddit Christianity, and the title is Firmament. And the post says, so one of my biggest things with the Bible is the firmament business and flat earth stuff. Seems right to talk about it since the Artemis launch, which at the time of recording this, they just got back from space like a week ago, I think. And then they say, I'm curious on what your guys' take on it is, because quite clearly we can see planets with telescopes right now if we wanted to, so it kind of debunks that, referring to the flat earth part. My personal belief is possibly a firmament when Moses was around, causing the flood, but who really knows? And so this person is referring to Genesis 1:6. Specifically, this is seen in the King James Version, where it says, like, and God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. So looking at the creation story, and this idea that there is something that's blocking us and the air from whatever is happening in space with a firmament there. And so they're just kind of wondering, like, this is something I'm struggling with what it means and how it's possible that people are able to go to space now.
Yeah, right. So I don't know how to respond to this question exactly. I think that well, I'll talk about technology because I can a little bit. I think that I mentioned limits earlier and overcoming limits, and I think that that as we find more and more things that we can do or that we can observe in some way, that has the chance to challenge things that we've inherited or things that we've received. And I think, for me at least, I think that people who were writing the Bible, whatever, I don't know, like, I don't know what this person thinks about how the Bible came to exist. I think that people wrote these texts. I think you can talk about divine inspiration, and I think you can maybe make the case that we are always doing the best we can with what we know or with what we understand. So, and I think that person is getting at that a little bit, like maybe by saying maybe in Moses' day there was this firmament, and now maybe, or in Noah's day, I don't know if it was Noah or Moses, but maybe there was this firmament, and now that's not the case anymore, right? I think that's one way that you can go. I think you can also say, like, what we have in the Bible is ancient literature, and they did not have telescopes.
Right.
And they did not have Artemis II. So there are things that I think it's fair to say, like, I don't want to trust humans entirely, but I also don't want to work so hard to preserve what I've received that I am discounting what I experience. Right? Like, I think I'm going to be dangerous here. I think that well, dangerous. I don't know. I think I don't know enough about world religions to be able to make this claim broadly. I don't remember enough about Greek mythology, for example, to be able to make this claim. But it seems to me that the stories I remember from Greek mythology of Zeus taking on human form, Zeus was in it for himself. Right? Like, he would come down because he wanted to do something. And it seems to me that the Christian story of Jesus, of God becoming human in Jesus, has to do with God doing something for humans, not God doing something for himself. And that makes me want to say that human experience matters and needs to be taken seriously. And I would rather do that and read Genesis and the firmament through that lens than sort of squash my own sensibility around, like, look at the things that we know and that we've discovered, and say, but that can't be right. Right? Because this, like, that's me, but that's also a painful place to get to if what you know, like, this is upending a world.
Right.
When to get there. Like it's for me, it was 25 years of work.
And I mean, you really speak to like one of the general questions I wanted to ask about this, which is like, what do we make of the reality that the Bible's phrasing is not 100% consistent with how we understand the world now with the technology we have? Because I think like that is very threatening to a lot of people when with this idea. I mean, it's related to the flat Earth stuff, it's related to the firmament stuff, but it comes up in other places too, where it's like, I mean, we see these assumptions that are in the Bible about the way human bodies work and the way nature is, and now that we have more information, we can say like, well, that's actually not the way it works. A lot of people, they do really hold on to the biblical text. Well, I guess one of two things happens. Either they say, oh, well, that means if the Bible is inconsistent with this, then I need to throw out the whole Bible. And like I can no longer believe in anything that the Bible says. So, I mean, and just want to throw the whole Bible away. Or they feel very threatened because and go to say, well, if this is what the Bible says, if the Bible's saying it, then that means that everything else we're learning is wrong. And I mean, like there are a lot of people, contrary to the polarization that might happen online, there are a lot of people that are willing to like kind of meet in the middle there and both value what the Bible says and also value what we're learning every day with science. Yeah,
there's a clarity to either one of the extremes.
Right.
Like those are clear positions.
Yeah.
I have a person who shall remain nameless that I knew who was very much of the lines of like, yeah, well, we just don't understand it. Right? But this is the way it must be because this is the way it's said, right?
Right.
And for them, that worked. Like, it seemed to, at least, right? As far as I could tell, like, they were basically content with life and the way things were. And for me, that, maybe my brain is broken, that doesn't work for me, right? So I have to find some way of thinking about how do you find the truth that you want to hold on to? How do you discard the things that are maybe not factual, right? So, one way to think about it, if we go back to the Genesis account, right? One way to think about it is, okay, so there are truths maybe that a person can acknowledge in that story, right? So a Christian might say, yeah, it's true, this world is created and cared for by God. And a Christian might also say, and also, it probably didn't happen in 6 days, right? So it can still be true, and also not precisely as it was described, right? Not historical in that way.
Yeah.
Like that's one way of staying in kind of the wishy-washy middle, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I know like one person made a comment on here, which is just like the Bible does not equal a science book.
That's accurate.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah.
my own take is it. Yeah.
And I know like I did grow up kind of with this idea of like the Bible is not necessarily meant to be a precise history book or a precise science book. But I think like something I've learned, like especially in my seminary studies, is like seeing the human interpretations of how God is active in terms of humanity and in terms of the world as a part of creation. Like it's like the fact that it's not like exactly historically, scientifically correct doesn't discredit what it's saying. There's still a lot that you can learn about people who've been following God and acting in their faith and learning about, helps us learn about God from those texts. So it's still definitely very valuable. We don't have to take every single word literally in order to take the Bible seriously.
To get a message, to get some message from it, right? I think that's fair, and I also think there are probably parts of the Bible that are good examples of how not to behave.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, and even folks who would say that the Bible is handed down divinely inspired would agree that there are parts of the Bible that are not the way we ought to behave.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the one other thing I want to mention with this topic, especially because this person was mentioning the Artemis 2 launch as a part of this, I've been very impressed by the way Victor Glover, who's one of the astronauts on the Artemis 2 launch, has been talking about faith. And I think like this has been true for other astronauts and people who work for NASA too, but just like there's been this beautiful coinciding of faith and science. And I mean, like the way that specifically Victor Glover was talking when he was in space, giving his report right before they were about to go into like the blackout time when they went around the moon. And
Yep, right.
I mean, he talked about the Earth from where he was seeing it and talking about how beautiful it was, and just like the experience of seeing the Earth from that far away was a spiritual experience for him and led him to say, like, I feel like I just need to reemphasize that our job as Christians is to love God and love others. And so I think like while some of the time that the conversations about science and faith, a lot of the time it's figuring out like, well, how do you hold them together? Like, is it really possible? How do we do this? There's also a lot of examples like Victor Glover who are saying like, no, like this is strengthening my faith. This is helping me understand my own identity as a person of faith because I'm witnessing in science. And he did that in like one of the most extreme ways you can possibly do that by seeing the planet. So I just wanted to mention that because I think that's just been really cool to see, and people responding to it and being like, whoa, this is awesome.
Right. Yeah. This was true. I think if I remember from my history right, this was true in the 1960s also when the first photos of the planet came. Like folks were having these religious experiences of seeing their planet as a planet, right?
Yeah.
Not just as what they can look around and see or what receive over television, but like, here's the thing, right? That's it, and the rest is sort of this infinite blackness. And as far as we know, there is no other place that has this, right? That's pretty awe-inducing. Yeah, I think, and should bring about a good dose of humility, I would expect.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking about church splits now too, for some reason. Like these arguments that we're having are over these small things. And if you could just step back far enough, right, you realize, that's really pretty tiny. Right. Right. This thing that is so important, really pretty small.
Yeah, and I think like it's such a huge thing, but at the same time it's somehow very grounding because it's really like it is that idea of like, wow, like if we're really looking at the entire planet this way and the beauty of it and just like the vastness of it, it really does make the little squabbles and issues that come up seem very insignificant.
Yeah, like it's an imagination expanding technology in a different kind of way than AI. Right. Like rocket ships to the far side of the moon are information expanding. Yeah. I think.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, we're on to our last post to read for today. This one I came across just like organically and went, oh, I have to ask Brent this question. This one is coming from the subreddit Am I the Asshole? And I will refer to it as Am I in the Wrong, just so we don't have to bleep a lot. And the post is, am I in the wrong for watching Jesus Christ Superstar knowing there will be a family event within the same day? Jesus Christ Superstar is coming to my country. It's one of those plays, it's a musical, but it's one of those plays where I'm not that keen to put 100% effort in, but if a friend invites me, then I'm game. A week before, it was announced that a second cousin of mine from my dad's side has a baptism and christening date. My parents told the family to reserve the date. I was like, if anything is not in the way, then maybe I can consider going, but my answer is not final. Dad was like, this is a family event, but I went of someone I barely met, and I only met 5 times? My dad said we met each year when I was a child, but I honestly do not remember. Then a friend invited me and suggested the date to see the play. It was the same day as the baptism. I said yes to Jesus Christ Superstar and told my parents I would not go. My parents were not happy. My dad specifically, because it was on his side, said that I was invited for a reason. The second cousin could have invited their friends, but chose me. My mom said that I am blowing up opportunities because there are more opportunities to meet the relatives who I have not seen and who have wanted to see me. They were unhappy that I chose Jesus Christ Superstar over the baptism and christening because the latter was told to me first. The thing is, I don't know the second cousin very much. That's how I am with distant relatives. If I go, I will go if nothing is in the way, but if there are things I like on the way, I won't go to those events with relatives I barely know. So am I in the wrong?
Yeah, am I in the wrong?
So first of all, you're familiar with Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah, I'd like not intimate with it, but yes,
Yeah,
I know it.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess part of the question is Jesus Christ Superstar worth seeing above this family event that has been on this person's radar for a bit?
Right. All right. Shall I just give a quick answer?
Sure.
Is that what you want?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. It's worth seeing over that family event, but you shouldn't.
Okay.
That's the answer that I would give, I think. So sadly, I think OP, you're in the wrong.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to massage that a little bit if I can, right? Like my inclination would be to honor my family thing, especially because it had come up before. Like, so for me, that's more the criteria than it is how closely do I know this person, or how much do I want to see this particular musical or this particular show. It's much more the criteria for me is, you know what, this date was available, this invitation came in, I said I would do it, I'm going to do it. Now, what's different about that is that this poster didn't say I would do it. This poster said, if there's nothing else that comes up, then I can do it. So I think there's some leeway there to do the preferred thing, right?
Yeah.
And then my question would be is what are the criteria that you're using to determine whether something is preferred over this? Like maybe what comes up is that I don't know where this poster is located, but maybe what comes up is that Netflix drops a new season of something, right? And that's the day you have to binge it.
Right.
Should that take priority? Like what is your like that's the part that I don't know. Like what criteria are you using? Now in this case, my sense is that that I don't really know this person, and there's a presumption that because I don't know this person, they also don't know me. And therefore, they're not going to care very much if I'm not there. Right? That's one assumption I think that is maybe present
Oh,
here.
definitely.
And that may not be accurate. I know people that I have relationships with the people, and it's clear to me which one of us is always doing the initiating of conversation. Right? Like that might be a sign that even though I feel one way, they feel differently. About the relationship that we have. I think so like some of those kinds of things we just don't know from this post. What's the other fun thing is that Jesus Christ Superstar is one of these musicals that's sort of like a scandalous Christ, right? Like you have Last Temptation of Christ and you have Jesus Christ Superstar. Right? There are these movies that are kind of like, ooh, right? And the alternative in this case is a baptism of all the things.
Yeah.
So there's that element, and I can imagine, like, depending on what the family structure is like, I can imagine there might be some concern about that from the parents.
Yeah,
right? Like
presumably,
You're doing this it's not just, right? Like we can couch this in the language of family. So it's not just that you were invited for a reason. It's not just that you're making it about you and it's really about your second cousin, right? It's not just that. It's also that instead of doing the churchy thing, you're doing this thing that we very much wish you wouldn't.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know how much that factors in. Like there's a lot of information here that we don't have, but my answer still stands based on the original post as it's framed. Is that I think you're in the wrong.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, in this kind of subreddit, there's often a verdict that's given by the people who are making comments and everything.
Yeah.
And the verdict was not in the wrong.
Oh, I suck.
Well, it doesn't mean they're right. So one of the comments said, not in the wrong, merely because you're related to someone does not mean you have to do anything with them. And then a second person said, this is some choice words here, but not in the wrong, go see the musical. It would be much more exciting than seeing someone dunked in a tub. So kind of downplaying the significance of baptism a little bit.
A little bit.
But I mean, still in the same vein as like, no, like of course you're gonna go see Jesus Christ Superstar. Like, how is there even a competition there?
Right. No,
Yeah.
I would go to the baptism and I would think, man, I wish I were watching Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah, but I mean, like one of the things that this person said in their post is, like my dad specifically, because it was on his side, said I was invited for a reason. The second cousin could have invited their friends, but chose me. And so like that's coming from the dad, that's not coming from the cousin, but there is kind of like from the dad, some sort of indication that like the cousin chose this person for a specific reason. And so even if you're sitting in the pews wishing you were at Jesus Christ Superstar, I mean, being there for your cousin is still hopefully meaningful to them.
Right.
And that's why they were chosen to attend this.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm hypothesizing here. So the dad is a generation closer. I have cousins that I'm much closer in relationship to than my nephews, who are a generation below me, would be with their kids. So their kids might invite the nephews, but it might be because of this parental obligation, not because of a direct line kind of thing.
Right.
So I'm not sure the father in this story necessarily has the best reasons either as to why it's a problem.
Yeah,
I still think the poster's wrong, but
yeah. Well, I know the other part of this that makes it, I mean, the person did say, like, it's one of those plays where I'm not that keen to put in 100% effort to go. So it's not like they're, like, I think it would be one thing if, like, if they're, and they also said, coming to my country, which kind of assumes like that these kind of opportunities don't come up very much.
Right.
And so I would say it would be one thing if there was a musical that was in their country that they had loved for a really long time and talked with their family for a really long time, and all of a sudden this like once in a lifetime opportunity comes up that this musical is coming to their country, and it happens to be on the same day as the baptism that they did not commit to. Then I think I would be a little frustrated if my family was like, yeah, but you have to go to this specific thing, and it's like, come on, like this thing is also happening too.
Right.
I don't know what decision I would make in that case, but I mean, it's a little different if it's just like, no, this thing just seemed more fun, and so I'm gonna go to this.
Yeah, you get. I mean, there's two once in a lifetime opportunities here in the way that you're framing it.
Right.
And I guess maybe technically this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, but it's not one that it seems that you care about all that much.
Right.
Right. You're kind of interested in, but it's not like not driving. Like, you know, I don't know, like if Come From Away suddenly comes to your country.
Oh my gosh.
And you haven't been, right? Like, and you want to say, oh yeah, I want to go see that, right?
Right.
Like, that's a different kind of story to me than to say something that you think is, yeah, this would be fun, and also I'm not compelled to go see it.
Right.
Quite the same way.
Okay, so my question then, as we're finishing up here, if there was to be like a musical or a play coming through that you would like, that would be like your once in a lifetime, that you'd be super excited to go to, and a decision like this would be really difficult. What would that musical or play be for you?
I feel like I have seen the musicals or plays that I just really, really, really want to see. So I don't know of what I haven't seen. I don't know what thing would really sort of be the thing that would make me want to do that. I like the musical Bright Star a whole lot, and I'm happy to go see that. Since we're talking about Jesus Christ Superstar, I will run away from Godspell if I have the opportunity to do so. Like, that is a play that doesn't strike me as a scandalous portrayal of Jesus. I don't like it. So maybe I mean, Come From Away I like a lot. I like the band's Visit a lot. These are all relatively recent things.
Yeah,
I like Into the Woods, or there's various Sondheim shows that I think are just incredibly witty, and I'm generally pretty happy to see them when I have opportunity to.
Yeah. So you're not in this position where like there's the one play that you've never gotten to see, like, because you've been able to see a lot of those shows.
I'm privileged to have had that opportunity. Like, there was a show recently called Shucked, which I missed when it was in Chicago.
Yeah,
right? So I haven't seen that, and I would like to, but I don't have the sense of like, oh, I must see that show.
Right.
Right. Hamilton was a little bit that way. But,
yeah.
I can't remember. Book of Mormon was a little bit that way. Avenue Q was a little bit like all these things were a little bit that way, but nothing that was really driving me to the same degree, I would say, is what it sounds like you're imagining sort of a
right
might do.
I mean, I feel like if I like after you mentioned Come From Away, that's what kind of made me think like, oh, I think that might be mine, just because I don't see it done very much, so like there are a lot of touring casts for other musicals that I like, but that's one that I don't see very often.
Which is interesting because Come From Away was only recently licensed for community theaters.
Oh.
Like, so it's been what, 15 years? When was it released? 2011, I guess, maybe. So
yeah.
So it's been close to 15 years that it just hasn't been available except for professional companies.
Right.
And I think you're right. Like, I don't see it a lot with touring like larger venues anymore. But I think there's a lot of sort of smaller professional groups.
Yeah. So recommending Come From Away, listen to Come From Away, and encourage your local community theaters to do Come From Away. That's the message we're making here.
It's accurate.
Yeah.
Yep.
So as we finish up here, what are your impressions of Reddit and some of the questions and stories we've been looking at today?
Yeah. Well, so you read things mostly from subreddits, Christianity.
And then I had from Am I in the Wrong? Yeah. That one's more general.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there are thousands of subreddits, so I don't know that I have a good picture of Reddit as a whole from this thing.
This is your little snapshot.
What's interesting to me about Reddit, and I think I said this near the beginning, is that like folks seem to be pretty forthright and straightforward, at least in what you've been reading to me, but not vicious in the sense of, oh, you stupid poster, what are you doing? Now, maybe you've done plenty of filtering, and so that's just not what I'm finding. And maybe there are posts that are getting deleted, so maybe people are doing that, and then they get deleted a lot, right? So whatever Reddit is doing to maintain that seems to be working for me. And that's been true when I've gone to other Reddits and been following like technical threads, right, about some product or whatever. Like someone raises a question about IT. There are often some feedback things that say, why would you do that, right? And the implication is like, what are you thinking? This is not a good idea.
Yeah.
And often someone else comes in afterwards and says, yeah, well, okay, but this, and this, right? So like, you do have some folks, I think, who tend to be a little dismissive sometimes, but it does strike me that the community of Reddit sort of buffers that.
Right.
To some extent.
Yeah. I mean, I would say like if there's like a spectrum for kindness in terms of like having conversations and things, I think like you might have like respectful conversations happening in person on like the one end, because like I mean people say like that people say stuff online that they wouldn't say to someone in person. So if like that's one end of the spectrum, I would put probably like Twitter on the complete opposite end, where people will be as vicious as they can be.
Yeah.
I would say that Reddit really does fall closer to like the almost in person, probably more than other social media platforms. And of course, like there are the corners of Reddit where that kind of respect is not given. And I mean, for the most part, I mean, I'm able to find the places where people are being respectful and still being like forward with what they think, but usually in a more respectful way, and are often not as keen to jump to conclusions to say like I'm more interested in what you said about this. Can I get more information about this particular context? And like even in the Christianity subreddits where it's like I have this question and someone kind of responds with like, I want to know why you have this question, because the way that I answer this question is going to be impacted by the reasoning behind this. Right. And I mean, that's like a typical pastoral care practice, is like when someone asks a question, you should really be digging into that.
So go Reddit.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a lot of fun. I feel like we've answered a lot of meaningful questions. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. I'm happy to be invited. This is a hoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us and for watching or listening. If you enjoyed, please leave us a like or leave a review. If you have any themes that you would like us to talk about, or stories you have or questions you have, please leave that in a comment. You can find Seminary Reacts on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. And I hope you have a great day. Bye.